Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm gonna take a minute here. I'm a couple minutes early, so we're gonna share this out because I really want to get some people online for this one. So if you're seeing this, say good morning. Let me know where you're at in the world and how you're doing. So we'll get this started here. Like I said, I'm just a couple minutes early. So bear with me here. I'm gonna share this out. Still a little early. Everybody over at IG She Deserves collection. Good morning to you. Appreciate you jumping on. Thank you. Like I said, if you guys are seeing this, go ahead and let me know where you're at. And if I have anybody in North Carolina doing helping out, or in Tennessee for that matter, let me know. Leave a comment. Share this, 'cause some of the topics I'm going to be talking about today. We're gonna be covering the floods, or, and some of the stuff that's going on there. So we're going to get started. It's 9 o'clock. Good morning. This is your HMG weekly wrap up. I'm your host, Adam Bird. Welcome for those of you that watch this for the first time. Crazy week this week. Lot of stuff going on and a lot of mixed emotions uh, with everything this week. Let's dive into it because there's a lot that we're going to cover, and I'm going to start off with some of the port closures. So earlier this week, there was over 30 plus, 35 plus U.S. ports that had closed up and down the East Coast, and as of it looks like yesterday, Thursday, U.S. port workers and operators reached a deal to end the East Coast strike immediately. The union says the union representative the U.S. dock workers and port operators have reached a tentative deal on wages that will end a 3-day strike. So the strike actually happened on Tuesday earlier this week. And as of yesterday, they have come to a tentative deal to shut down the shipping or the excuse me. They came up with a deal that would end the 3-day strike that had shut down the shipping along the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. The International Longshoremen's Association Union and the United States Maritime Alliance said yesterday the agreement extends their master contract between union and port operators until January 15th of 2025, allowing the negotiations to continue. This is great news. I think I would say this is great news because I think a lot of people were starting to go to Costco and Sam's Club, and the whole toilet paper thing was like we're having a flashback there for a minute. And I think especially with everything that's going on with the hurricane reliefs and stuff like that, we need all the supplies and stuff that we can get. So I'm glad that they were able to work something out, at least temporary. From what I've seen in the different news articles out there, it looks like this is a good thing. Everybody's going to be happy, and it looks like after they're extending this until January 15th of 2025, but it looks like everything will get. The workers seem to be happy with what's going on. Hopefully they'll be able to extend that afterwards as well. What else happened this week? How many people watched the Joy over on Instagram? Yeah, it's a great thing that I was really kind of nervous myself. I'm guilty of it. I happened to go to Sam's Club and I stocked up on a few things. I'm not like the crazy type where it's like, oh, we got to get 1,000 rolls of toilet paper. Nothing like that, but it's glad, and it's certainly needed. Water's needed. supplies are needed, especially in those southern states hit with the hurricane. Next up, CBS facts checks Vance and cuts his mic. Did anybody watch the VP debate this earlier this week? I caught a glimpse of it, and a lot of the clips that I've seen, I was kind of surprised of how civil most of it was between the two candidates. Anybody else feel that way, or is it just me? But CBS did cut Senator JD Vance's mic off after he fact checked it again. And this is, I didn't watch this part. I'm just seeing some of the highlights on it, but it looked like one of the mediators, moderators, whatever, she said, to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporarily protected status. Oh, this was Margaret Brennan. Said, Senator, we have so much to cover. And then he says, Margaret, the rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what is actually going on. At this point, are you guys surprised that this is happening? And I'm telling you this right. If you're watching this, when you watch this, share this, because I'm telling you right now, we're getting shadow banned with some of the. You would think I would learn to change the wording on this stuff, but I'm not going to clickbait you guys either. So share this out, please. But are we surprised at this point that CBS is fact checking stuff and kind of keeping it, one sided? I'm not. It's just the media. It just goes to show you just how awful mainstream media has become. So yeah, it's just it's ridiculous at this point. Okay. What do I got next? Okay, so next we're gonna kind of start getting into the hurricane stuff. So here's a article that happened looked like yesterday morning. FEMA lacking funding to make it through the season after giving millions to migrants. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and I said his name wrong, I don't care, admitted that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, does not have enough funding to last through this year's hurricane season. We with the money that we have, we are expecting another hurricane hitting. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season. That's shameful. And piggybacking off of that, I guess the Biden administration offers a mere $750 to residents that have been affected by the hurricane. We'll let that sit in for a second. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Over on the talk. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Thank you. Guys, again, share this, leave a like, comment. Let me know you guys are out there, because we're going to get into some stuff here. It's sad that FEMA organization, Biden administration offers $750 to residents. That's not, I can't imagine that's going to look good, especially with everything coming up. Let's dive into the hurricane stuff here. I want to dive into this more. I've been on the phone. I spent all day yesterday talking to several people that are on the ground in North Carolina. Now I'm talking about North Carolina specifically. I know we've had some stuff we got some stuff in Georgia. We got stuff in Tennessee that's going on. But right now, one of the shows on the network, the strategic veteran, my friend Adam Peters, great American fellow veteran. We're talking a little bit about the disaster that's going on, specifically down in Asheville, North Carolina. We've got boots on the ground down there. Uh, and here is I'm going to share, and again, some of the videos that I'm about to show you and some of the pictures that you see are somewhat graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. Let me put that out there. But this was taken from a gentleman's cell phone that was on the ground. This was on Tuesday, I believe. Let me go ahead and add this.
Wow.
675 on Sac County was moving.
Pretty graphic. It was just amazing the power of that there. But now I'm also going to get into some of the pictures. Some of these pictures. There was a few of them that were taken off the internet from people that were there, but the majority of these photos that you see are from people that are in North Carolina right now, and that have been walking around. Several of these pictures were taken from a gentleman that we have on the ground with his cell phone. So, what do we know? Catastrophic flooding in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee has been hit by the flooding, and the devastation is horrible. Um, it's nuts. The impact on the community, uh, families have been torn apart. Uh, they have been pulling bodies from the mudslides, and homes have been completely destroyed. I know somebody personally whose home is no longer there. It got washed away in the flood. Highways have been destroyed. I-40, which is a critical infrastructure, has been destroyed in that area, as well as I-26 has been closed indefinitely. That was earlier this week, making it nearly impossible to help reach a lot of these areas. Now, I want to say this: careful what you consume online. You can, by all means, check us out. Ryan Hunt, good morning to you. Mark Peterson, thank you. Patriot Pride. We want to get more help down here. And there were some of us that were getting ready to pack up and go. And logistically, that just doesn't make sense, because once you get down there, what do you do? So there's some organizations, and I'll touch base on that here in just a minute. But what there are rumors going around. I had heard earlier in the week that the State National Guard there in North Carolina was not activated. The 82nd Airborne Division was supposed to be helping out. They have not been activated, and this was as of yesterday. Allegedly, I did not check this morning, truth be told. So, by all means, you can check that out. There was actually, I think late last night, there was an interview of a lady who said, yeah, they're just not sure what to do. Now, I had a quick phone conversation with boots on the ground this morning, and I verified, are there helicopters in the area? There are a ton of personal helicopters in the area, and there are military Chinooks that are flying around, dropping off supplies and whatnot. I also do know that there are mules they're packing mules to get the mules up these trails into these areas. As you can see right from that photo there, a lot of the roads are destroyed, and it's not good going on down there. So what are some of the needs right now? Medical supplies, insulin, iodine for purifying drinking water, basic first aid supplies are needed. Clean water, non-perishable food items, clothing, hygiene items, heavy equipment, skid steers, chainsaws, excavators. Here's the thing with that. Now, on some of the heavy equipment stuff, you can't really get into that area right now, which is why they're asking for like helicopters. I saw a gentleman from Florida took like 8 helicopters up there flying around looking for people. SOS. They said the military wasn't up there. Again, I confirmed this morning with our source on the ground. that they do have military Chinooks going in and out, dropping supplies in and around that area just outside of Asheville, from what we are being told. Um, I mean, it's again, I'm going to play this one more time so you can see this stuff. But if you can help out, let's do it. Logistics crisis. Key highways are gone. Like I said, I-40, I-26 are out of commission. Getting supplies in and people out are affected areas, and it's becoming a nightmare. Supply chain efforts, local fire chiefs and community leaders, alongside boots on the ground responders, are working to create a supply chain, but more help is needed to coordinate to keep relief flowing. Technology resources right now, QRF Up app. That's QRF Up app. And if I was smart, I would have put it on here, but I didn't. So I will put it in the comments after the show. QRF Up app. You can check that out. It's an application. Has been internal infrastructure that can leverage to help locate those who are missing. Now, I know they got some mobile Wi-Fi trucks that are moving around through the region to help people connect where people can be found and whatnot as well. You know what? We're going to do this one more time. So yes, download that app. You can help get people seen. How we can help: donate medical supplies, insulin, iodine, basic first aid stuff. Mentioned water. If you can contribute any type of heavy equipment, volunteer logistics support. Reach out directly. And there's some organizations that are down. You think about the organizations, disaster relief. You got Team Rubicon and Team Red, White, and Blue. There's another organization I want to bring up. It is Save Our Allies. SaveOurAllies.org. I'm not. I don't have any necessarily type of affiliation with them. I know they did a lot of stuff in Afghanistan. Nick Palmisano was one of the people there at Save Our Allies. He's a Army veteran, I believe. Former UFC fighter Tim Kennedy, I believe, is part of that organization as well. I know he's on the ground there as well. But if you can help out, and we here at HMG want to put some stuff together so we can get down there next week, or at least, we're talking about potentially putting a truck together and driving supplies down there. So if that's something that you're interested in, reach out to us, leave a comment, just say I'm interested, and then we can touch base after the show today and start coordinating on how we can get supplies and stuff down there to organizations, or to at least boots on the ground down there. So together we can make a difference for these communities. Let's start spreading the word. I'm not going to get into the numbers. I don't want to get into, because here's the thing. We get shadow banned enough here on the social platforms. And it's borderline infuriating to me that you're not seeing a lot of news coverage about what's going on in Tennessee and in North Carolina. Ken, good morning, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Share this, please. Death toll and missing persons. Oh, I'll just say over 150 have been confirmed across multiple states, including I'll just say multiple states. The infrastructure damage, it's insane. I mean, I'll post an article on this, but it's not making sense of why we're not seeing more of this on the news and what's really going on. Now, that being said, you guys know I'm a big proponent of fact checking everything. Make sure you protect your mind and your emotions from it. A lot of the things that you see on the internet where people are like, oh, this is happening down there and this is what's going on, and then you dive into it a little bit, like even the people that you think you would gear towards believing aren't necessarily telling the whole truth either. So make sure you really, unless you have somebody on the ground, careful with what you believe. Really dig in, because there's a lot of push and pull between both sides. I don't think it's been we haven't been told everything accurately. Now, this being said, I was informed that there's been over 1,000 active duty military personnel and National Guard teams that have been dispatched to assist in relief efforts. And that's throughout, it's not just North Carolina, that's Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and parts of North Carolina. Um, so there's a lot there's just a lot of moving parts to this, and this morning again I'm specifically talking about the Asheville, North Carolina area specifically. So but we need help in all areas with this. Again, check out QRF Up app. Download the application from the App Store or Google Play Store. Local relief info, relief efforts, people that you can volunteer, ways to donate to help. If you Google ways to help or ways to donate to help food victims in Western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene, go to ashevilleRelief.com is another way that you can do that. And again, I will post this information after the show as well. Also, I want to give a shout out again. No, I don't no ties with them directly per se, but Save Our Allies .org, saveourallies.org. Go onto their page and you can volunteer. They're looking for volunteers. They have boots on the ground down there in North Carolina right now. So if you want to help out, go down and volunteer in some form or fashion. That's another organization that does a lot of great things. So make sure you go check them out. Yeah. So again, I wanted to touch on what's really going on, and here's another kind of ties into what's going on in North Carolina. More than 50 tires punctured at a local truck stop. Sheriff office confirmed. Madison County, Tennessee, not far from old North Carolina there. On September 26th, last week, around 8 a.m., deputies with the Madison County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to a TA truck stop in western Madison County in response of several trucks registered to different trucking agencies being vandalized, resulting in flat tires. It turned out there was end up being close to 80 trucks now is the newest one that I've seen. But here's what rubbed me the wrong way about this. Not only is one, as a former truck driver myself, I know that those tires are not cheap. They're expensive, probably close to about $500-$600 per tire. The other part of that is there was a couple people on social media that said those trucks were targeted because they were traveling with supplies to help in certain areas of North Carolina and Tennessee. That's not necessarily true on all of that. So again, this goes back to careful with what you consume, especially on social media and whatnot. What else happened this week? Last one is Israeli airstrikes rock southern suburbs of Beirut and cut off key crossing into Syria. This happened yesterday or last night, but 3 days ago, and I think this happened yesterday in response to 3 days ago, Iran unleashed a major airstrike targeting sites across Israel on Tuesday night, while Israel's air defense shot down most of the 180 incoming missiles, according to Israeli officials. So when I titled this week's, things are getting spooky or scary, what are we going to do? Protect our minds. That's what we got to do. Again, I want to. So the stuff that's happening overseas between Iran and Israel, it's crazy. But I want to go back to what's going on here in the U.S. Again, next week, sometime next week, I want to put some stuff together. So I'm asking you guys if there's a way, reach out to Save Our Allies or Google how you can help out with hurricane relief stuff. If you want to reach out to us, there are people that HMG is dealing with directly, boots on the ground, specifically in the Asheville, North Carolina area. So if you want to contribute to that in some form or fashion, leave me a message or send me an email or leave a comment here saying I want to get involved. Then I'll touch base with you here in the next couple of days, and so we can figure out what we're going to do there on that. We'd like to get some supplies down there, go down there, shoot some footage, and see what's really going on. Because obviously, you're not, like I said, you're not seeing a lot of this stuff going on the news, and I'm seeing and hearing that there are a lot of people are frustrated that this stuff isn't being discussed on the news. So that being said, again, those of you that are just jumping on, good morning to you. This is your HMG Weekly Wrap Up. I appreciate everything you guys jumping on. If you watch this later on throughout the weekend, please share this. Please share this, and please leave a comment. Let's get these algorithms going. This isn't the only show that we do on this network now. Do it throughout the week. We got shows that go live on here every week, and we're super excited about that. So speaking of the shows, let's talk about some of the shows and what you missed this week on the podcast that we have here. Let's if I can get my sheet to pull up here. All right. First up in the queue, we got Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Oh, hold on here. What do we got? My man Ken. Man, I tell you what, brother, I appreciate you. All the Femium went to Ukraine. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. I had had a discussion with, I won't mention the person's name, from FEMA yesterday, because we were talking about jumping on one of their trucks to go down to cover footage of what's really going on. And I haven't gotten an answer back. They didn't say no. They might after this, but they didn't say no. And we had reached out to them to see what we could do to help in that area. But yeah, a lot of that money went to Ukraine. Yeah, maybe might have went to the southern border and so forth. It's what are we going to do though? We got to move forward. That being said, we're going to move forward, and we're going to talk about some of the shows that what you missed on the shows this week. Let's dive into some of the shows, and then we can after we cover the shows, we can go back, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think, and I'll read them after we cover the shows, and we can talk about it. Excuse me. So Homefront Sit Rep podcast, they're first up in the queue this week. Navy Commander to addiction recovery to helping veterans, Mr. Jay Wiley. He's a confidential recovery is intensive outpatient program, also known as IOP, that specializes in helping working adults, first responders, and veterans to overcome their problems with addiction and substance abuse. Their program meets at night so that their clients can stay employed and provide for their families while working on their recovery. Really cool program, great episode. Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Check it out. Next up, we got the strategic veteran this week, Dave Albin, a U.S. Army veteran and world-renowned firewalking expert. He shares his transition journey from battling addiction to leading life-changing firewalks for Tony Robbins and top organizations like Google, NASA, and Microsoft. You can learn how Dave overcame his personal struggles and discovered his passion for helping others overcome their fears. This was another great episode, The Strategic Veteran. Check it out. Next up, we got J-Mac this week. No episode but I want you to check out his Instagram page because he had a lot of cool pictures and stuff. He was down at the MIC, Military Influencer Conference, that happened in Atlanta earlier this week. J-Mac was down there covering it, went live several times. You can find out see those videos and whatnot on his Instagram page. Go to the J-Mac podcast. Next up, Senior Living Guide. Pay attention, everybody. Pay attention. You're going to want to listen to this one. This week, Dr. Gregory Cardinal, a board-certified podiatrist with over 12 years of experience and practice, specializing in in-home care for the elderly in the DC metro area. He talks about sharing invaluable insights on addressing common foot problems such as fungal infections, cellulitis, bunions, and nerve pain, and will emphasize the importance of foot health, particularly in seniors. I want to remind you that they say seniors are from the age 45 and above. Yeah. We'll dive into practical treatments like Epsom salt soaks and proper footwear, explore significance of monitoring moles for skin cancer, and they discuss the benefits of custom orthotics. I don't know about you, but I've learned a lot about this, and it's for somebody that personally has foot problems. For anybody that's had jungle rot or just played sports, or if veterans. I know there's a lot of vets out there. That's why I tell you, change your socks all the time and carry some Gold Bond or some baby powder, right? This was a very, very eye-opening. I learned a ton on this episode. It's called seniorlivingguide.com. Go check it out. Next up, Patriots Inside the Wire. This week, they got a new co-host joining with Tracy Two Steps Laporte. Tracy has Jim McCollum. He's the father of Rayleigh McCollum, one of the Afghan 13th. Together, they will lead a heartfelt episode honoring the sacrifices of Gold Star families. And each of them talk about their own sons. So check it out. Very sombering episode. Patriots Inside the Wire. Next up, we got Bump in the Road. This week, Shannon Eston. I can't read. Sorry. AKA Lady Ref. I mentioned that she would be on this week. Talked a little bit about her last week. She was the first female ref in the NFL. She's a trailblazer in the world of sports officiating. She shares her journey from a disciplined judo competitor to breaking barriers as an NFL official. And she really goes into deep. She's written a book about it too. Great episode. It's called Bump in the Road. Check it out. Next up, we got the Arms Room Show. This week, they're discussing home tools and emergency preparation for your home. I can't think of this is an episode that everybody should listen to right now, especially for everything that's going on in the world right now. Arms Room Show, check it out. Oh, real quick, let me alibi with the Arms Room Show. Their parent company, Independence Training, their 2025 training calendar is out. So if you go to the Arms Room Show on their social media platforms, you should be able to see their 2025 calendar, what they have, or go to trainingaz.com and get signed up. And they teach classes in like 30, 40 states now. They travel all over the country. And if you think it's like Arms Room Show, it's all about firearms. It's not. They do that. They teach that. But they do a lot of emergency preparation. They do a lot of dirt medicine type classes, stop the bleed, and a slew of very advanced other classes. I seriously recommend that everybody at least look at and consider taking a class in 2025 from them. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. Next up, Misfit Nation podcast. This week, host Rich LaMonica welcomes Bob Martin. Bob's story is it's not a common one. He had a very diverse career and spiritual journey, including being a criminal trial attorney, a social worker, a therapist, a professor, and a mindfulness teacher. He's also been a columnist and a happiness coach, exploring different religions such as Taoism, Buddhism, and Christianity. Pretty interesting episode on this one. It's called the Misfit Nation podcast. They do a show a couple times a week. Make sure you check them out. on their social media platforms, or you can catch them live here on HMG. Next up, we got Label Free Podcast with our gal Deanna. She's got Seven Goalie. I hope I said that right. Probably not. A beloved icon in the world of horror entertainment. Not like that, like horror, like scary horror. Stop it. I know some of you are thinking it. With a career spanning of 45 years, Savari has captivated audience with his unique blend of satire and slapstick humor, bringing classic horror films and low-budget cult favorites back to the spotlight. They discuss the significance of long-standing presence in broadcasting, the joy of connecting with multiple generations of fans, and the importance of keeping content fresh and engaging. This was a fun episode to listen to. I'm not going to lie. This was a really cool one. It's called Label Free Podcast. Check it out. Next up, we got your 6 at 6 with the People's Patriot Project. Go check them out every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This week, insights from William Stevens from his beginnings in Desert Storm with stories of deployment as a forward observer to where he is today. William shares his experience and what led him to write his book, The Mirror. The Mirror dives into the lives of individuals grappling with various traumatic events, excuse me, illnesses and disorders such as disorders with the author's personally navigating through post-traumatic stress disorder. It serves as an uplifting read for those battling their inner demons from past traumas. Check it out. It's the People's Patriot Project. We got your 6 at 6. Now, they do a couple of shows throughout the week as well. Make sure you follow them on the old social platforms. What do we got next here? Next up, we got Other Side of the Firewall. Hackers planning false memories in Chat GPT to exfiltrate user data. That doesn't sound good. It really doesn't. That doesn't sound good. In this episode of The Other Side of the Firewall, the host discussed the implications of AI in cybersecurity, focusing on a recent article about hackers planting false memories in Chat GPT. How many people use Chat GPT? And they're doing that to exfiltrate user data. They explore the mechanics of prompt injection attacks, the importance of user awareness regarding AI memory management. The conversation also talks about the need for guardrails to prevent misinformation and to protect sensitive data while also considering the future of AI in cybersecurity. So, like ChatGPT is, it's been a cool tool to use, especially for somebody that isn't necessarily a writer. You kind of get down your ideas. It'll give you a sense of what you're trying to say, and then you can go back in and clean it up a bit. But there is some worrisome here. If people are already messing with AI and the cybersecurity side of it, what's that leading into? Here's I'm old school. Here's the answer to this: shut it all off and start going face to face with people and read books. Stop burning books. Stop trying to rewrite crap. I don't know. That's just me. David Gordon, good morning to you, brother. Appreciate you jumping on. Not at all, huh? Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, I love The Other Side of the Firewall. This is I learn a lot from this show. They do a show every day, Monday through Friday. They're very consumable, and you learn a ton about AI software, cybersecurity, stuff that you don't think you'd really need or use, but it teaches you stuff about your phone and how to protect yourself on your computers at home. So it's a great show. Check it out. Other Side of the Firewall. Next up, we got the Joel Evans Show. This week, Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman discusses the profound impact of technology, particularly video games and cell phones, on social and mental health. He emphasizes the critical issue of sleep deprivation, linking it to raising suicide rates and violence. Grossman argues that the media plays a significant role in violence and creating culture that rewards notoriety for killers. I can't say I disagree with any of that. I think the media sucks. And that's from somebody that owns a media company. Mainstream media, let me say it that way. Mainstream media is protect yourselves. Great episode. If you got kids, this is one that you want to listen to. It's called the Joel Evans Show. Check it out. Next up, from thefarm.org. Last Sunday, you probably saw a live here on HMG from my friend AJ Richards, one of the founders from thefarm.org. They did a fundraiser, and at the time, Sunday, at the time of the show, I think they had raised like $58,000 already. But they're putting together this amazing software that will get you in touch with your local farmer and local rancher. You know, I think it's become so important to buy local, you know, because you know where your meat's coming from. I'll give you an example. I'll use myself here. I'm out in Pennsylvania now most of the time. And when I'm out here, there's a rancher that I work with here locally. And for the last 2 years, I've bought half a cow from this rancher. I go down, I know what the cows, what they're being fed. A lot of one property, he do regenerative agriculture. He doesn't use any hormones or any of that extra crap. They're grass fed. It's clean. I learned a lot of this stuff about cattle and stuff from my friend AJ at From the Farm. And there is a war going on within the US on our food supply. And we need to fix that. And one of the best things that you could do is work with a local farmer or a local rancher, so you know where your food's coming from. And right now, I'm talking about beef, but you do that with your chickens, pork products, what have you. A lot of people raise their own chickens. That's something that we're getting into here, myself, and whatnot. But it's so important. So I ask everybody, I'm going to put this in the comments after the show, go to fromthefarm.org. And if you're a farmer or a rancher, get registered on that site. If you are somebody that works with one of your local farmers or ranchers, get them on the site so more people can find their stuff and they can be found. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually order from ranchers and farmers across the U.S. that are on this site currently. But the reason is to try to get them in your local area. So check it out from thefarm.org. What do we got next? Next up, we got Because Bikers Matter podcast. Host David Vegas Schumann announces the winner of the Las Vegas event, a bike show to be held at Count's Customs. Jim Lynch of Bike Show Mafia expresses excitement about bringing the bike show to the West Coast after years of anticipation. The discussion touches on the reveal of the Vegas Bike Fest and the efforts to build a team to bring it back to its former glory. This is a cool episode. We'll be out in Vegas this weekend. So if anybody out in the Vegas area, leave me a message, hit me up. I'll be out there this weekend is what I'm going to tell you. So if you want the more details, hit me up. You can tell me that way. Because Bikers Matter podcast, check it out. What do we got here? Oh, this is worth putting out there. My buddy Dave. Dave, I could get ahead of the curve and start raising crickets. But they're so good. Especially, never mind. Anyway, next up, we got the MSEC podcast. Dr. Kimberly Dickman discusses the epidemic of loneliness across the United States and the impact that it's having on mental health. She also shares the importance of developing meaningful connections and how those connections influence your overall well-being. This is from our friends over at Military Child Education Coalition. You know it's coming, guys. If you are military, active duty, guard, reserve, or a veteran, and you have children of age that are still in school, follow militarychild.org. They got a lot of great resources for kids. They're all about the kids, and I absolutely love it. MSEC podcast, check it out. You're not right, David. You're not right. A couple more here. Stay with me, guys. Chasing Happiness this week. Ryan Dement, he dives into a swirling chaos of daily distractions and reveals how to regain control over your time and focus. This is a good one, and I clearly need to go back and listen to it again. A whirlwind of projects, team expansions, and relentless ping of emails. Ryan shares the struggles with feeling overwhelmed and scattered. But don't worry, you're not alone if you feel that way. Discover the 7 essential techniques to help you conquer distractions and elevate your focus, turning your to-do list into a done list. This is a great episode. Ryan does a great job. It's called Chasing Happiness. Check it out. And then last up, certainly not least, Rise Up, Voices from the Front Lines. This week, host Christina Fee welcomes Tucker Hart, an extraordinary musician, singer, songwriter. Tucker shares his inspiring journey from retail manager to talented artist after a life-changing heart attack and he was diagnosed with a sporadic something. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. You get to hear his compelling story of his overcoming his health challenges, battling addiction, and finding peace in music. He also performs his original song, First Frost of El Paso. This was a cool episode. I'm really proud of Krista for bringing the show back alive. She's been doing really good on this. It's called Rise Up, Voices from the Front Lines. I got to give a shout out to Jim Nary's live bait and tackle on Warriors on the Water. Thank you, folks, for being partners here at HMG. Forget genetics. Hey, listen, guys, it's deer season. Yeah, rut started. How many deer hunters do I have out there? I know you guys are out there. I'm not the only one. You want to keep the deer in your woods? Go to forgetgenetics.com and check out their products that they have. Veteran-owned company. I love these guys. I've been working with these guys for the last couple of years. It's what we put in our woods. They're amazing. Check them out. Forget Genetics. My Tax Fella. Nobody better in the business, in my opinion. And I've been working with them for the last 10 years. My Tax Fella. Go to mytaxfella.com if you're a business or you need help with your taxes. Reach out to mytaxfella.com. They can help you out. They'll have a slew of other resources for you. JB Auto Clothiers. We were just down in Tampa. I got to suit up a close friend of mine down there with some new suits. JB Auto Clothiers. Check them out. Motorcycle Safety Lawyers. And then last but certainly not least, our sister company, HMG Beverage, and some exciting stuff that we have coming up that we're going to announce in January 2025. That we're just super stoked about. So don't forget, if you're a coffee drinker and you want some coffee, go to hmgbeverage.com or hmgcoffee.com and get your coffee, and we'll send it out to you. Folks, I'm coming up on time. I want to go back and hit up on the North Carolina and then the hurricane stuff. And I know there's other places that are being hit right now. My focus this morning was primarily the Asheville, North Carolina area. Instagram, Brett, how you doing? Appreciate you jumping on. It was the Asheville, North Carolina area. I had some people down there. We have people on the ground working down there. And I say when we have people within our network that we know are down there helping out right now with relief efforts down there. Again, check out Save Our Allies. If you're interested in volunteering and getting down there, go to saveourallies.org and click on their volunteer section and see what you can do. Again, I'm not affiliated with Save Our Allies. This is just an organization. I know a couple people within that organization, and they've been recommended to us. And I know they did a lot for the Afghan draw out and getting people out of there. Good people. There's a lot of organizations out there, and be careful what you watch on social media when you're seeing the hurricane stuff. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of, the government is, oh, the government's not helping us and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. There's probably a lot of truth to that. I'm not saying it's truth. I'm saying it could be a lot of truth to that. At the same time, a lot of those people that are saying there's not a lot of help there, there's a lot of people down there helping out, and there's a ton of helicopters that are being flown in there with supplies and stuff like that. And again, this has been going on for latter part of a week now almost. And from what I'm hearing as of this morning at 6:30 a.m. on the phone call that I had, it is it's still hard to get into a lot of those areas because of the road closures and stuff. Horseback, mules, they're flying helicopters. There's a lot of people with personal helicopters that are out there helping and stuff like that. So again, I say all of that because you're not going to see a lot of it on the news, and we're not going to hear a lot of what's really going on the news. And that's because you call it what you will. You come to your own conclusion on that. I've said enough about it because I'm already shadow banned. So again, I say that because protect your minds, what you see. Really, if you want to learn something, really dive into it and see it from both sides. Ken, yeah, that's true, but I got a feeling that's going to get fixed beforehand. I will tell you this: when it comes to what's going on in eastern Tennessee and western part of North Carolina, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that are going out there right now. If you're into that kind of a thing, by all means, this weekend, jump down the rabbit hole if you don't have anything better to do. You'd be surprised at some of the things, and start putting some things together. You guys know I've said this to you guys from day one. Don't believe everything that I've said. The stuff that I bring to you is stuff that I've pretty much vetted. The overview of the disaster stuff, that's stuff that we've had put together by people that we know that are on the ground right now. So we're hearing that stuff firsthand. Okay. The pictures that you saw, this video that I shared, I'm going to share this video.
Wow.
675 on that canyon was booming.
Some of these pictures that were taken. Now, I said earlier, some of the pictures that you see here were taken off the web, but the majority of these pictures were taken off of this gentleman's cell phone there. So we'll take that off now. But again, if this is stuff that you're tracking, make sure you track it, but look at all sides of it. Hopefully we'll have some more stuff for you guys next week on this with some updates of what's going on with some of the relief. If you're interested in donating, look at some of the organizations. There's a lot of organizations that are going down there to help. Find which one that works for you. If you're interested in or you need guidance on that, leave me a message. Leave me a message or direct message me after the show. And because we're going to be putting some stuff together for next week that we can try to get supplies down there and start collecting water, iodine tablets, stuff that's needed, and just working logistics for people that are going down there or that are currently down there. So that being said, I appreciate you guys jumping on. Ken, David, guys I served with, I love you guys. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, not being mushy or nothing like that. I very much appreciate you guys. Ryan Hunt, I see you up there. Thank you. Mark Peterson, Patriot Pride. Thank you guys for jumping on. Everybody over there on Instagram and the TikTok land, thank you so much for jumping on this weekend. Guys, please share this. Leave comments throughout the weekend. Comment when, After the show, I'll have all the shows that I talked about. Leave a comment on them and follow those pages. These shows that work on HMG are phenomenal and great people. Watch, protect your mind, what you consume this weekend. All right. God bless you guys. God bless America. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.